I'm going to be honest with you. The King of Curses, Ryomen Sukuna, is a phenomenon we know frighteningly little about. What's up, guys? Pencil here, and here we are to talk about how shockingly little we actually know about Ryomen Sukuna, despite him being one of our most major and important antagonists that we've had around in the series since Chapter 1. So, let's not waste any more time, and let's hop right into it. What's up, guys? Let go of the pencil here. Fun fact, I have it on me, and I keep it on me at all times. And another fun fact, I was doing a little something that I like to call scripting, you know? And I was trying to make a Sukuna Explained video. Because I was like, character's been pretty popular right now. His fight with Maharaga dropped recently. People have been searching him up like crazy. So I was like, let me hop into the Google Doc real quick and let me get the script. Because, I got a couple Explained videos I'm working on. I'm thinking let me look this up. And then I wrote out, his name is Ryomen Sukuna. And I was like, wait a minute. Is that it really? His name? And then, I went all the way back to chapter 3, and I was like, let me see, is that actually his name? And then I read what Gojo had to say about that. Going back in time. Me, a target of the great Sukuna. What an honor. So, is he really that famous? Ryomen Sukuna, with 4 arms and 2 faces, is a demon of legend. The truth is, he was a human who actually existed, but that was over 1,000 years ago. In the golden age of Jujutsu sorcerers had sharpened their skills against him, but were ultimately defeated. With the title, Ryomen Sukuna, he would traverse the ages after his death as a cursed object. We Jujutsu sorcerers wouldn't even be able to restore or destroy his domains or remains preserved in their own grave wax. So, wait a minute. If I don't even know the character's real name, if Ryomen Sukuna is just a title that was given to him, what do I actually know about the character? And I started going deep down the rabbit hole, and I realized that we kind of know nothing. We have general ideas. Let's cover everything we actually know about Sukuna. Number 1, the title he was gifted is Ryomen Sukuna. What that means, I actually have no idea. What does Ryomen Sukuna actually mean? Well, what does Ryomen Sukuna mean? Oh, give me a second. Mean. What does the name Ryomen Sukuna mean? You tell me, Google. Two-faced. Given name Ryomen means two-faced, which can be applied to a character both literally and figuratively. Well, because in his original form, he did literally have 2 faces, but that's just a describing thing. What does Sukuna mean? If that means two-faced. What does Sukuna's name mean? Two-faced spirit. What? What? Wait. So, we know his name is Ryomen Sukuna, but his name literally just describes what he is. But even then, he's not really a spirit. He was a dude. So, it's not even a correct moniker. But his name means two-faced spirit, I guess, according to the first Google search I did. Nope, Ryomen Sukuna. It means two-faced spirit, according to the JJK wiki. Oh, well, that's based on Tumblr. But with that being the case, his name is Ryomen Sukuna. We know he can throw flying slashes. We know he has a spatial slash. We know he's from the Heian period. We know he was a guy. And we know he was an unwanted child. But, outside of those very surface level details, we know nothing else. Think about all the other characters in the series that we've encountered. We know Hajime. We know the name of his curse technique, how he works, despite him being in the series for, if you were to summate the total screen time of both characters, probably about 1/5, being generous, of Sukuna's overall screen time is what Kashimo has access to. For a character like Yuji Todori, he's our main character. Of course, we know a whole bunch about him. For a character like Kenjaku, we know a decent amount about him, but he's also kind of super duper mysterious. We don't even know if he actually was a he. We just recently found out. Well, not recently. I think it was a few months ago now. But Tengen was a grandma, or would be properly referred to as a grandma, and we saw her human variation. So there's that. But for Sukuna himself, it's weird that we don't even know his name. And there's no hints about it in the series at all, too. I did a quick skim through, obviously, of all of his recent appearances, but no hint of his real name anywhere, or his lineage, or anything like that. a lot of people are hoping that we'll get a name drop for him at the start of 245, considering at the end of 244, we get the hint of the real slaughterer is from Higurumi Hiromi. But even then, that's questionable, considering, well, what the point of the trial is, and either they're trying to charge the current body he's in based on how Judge Man recognizes things, or they're going to charge Yuji Tadori, considering he's the one who's literally on trial, and they're just going to say Sukuna was responsible for controlling Yuji Tadori at the time. But with that being the case, we don't know his name. First curse technique, we know, generally speaking, a lot about it. We know pretty much how it functions. And we have a off-brand name for it, but just like Sukuna's real name, Shrine is kind of just this thing Yorozu throws out there and says he has. And sure, Malevolent Shrine is kind of the name of his domain expansion, but like, imagine I didn't tell you what Limitless was, like the name of the Limitless, and then I said the domain expansion of the Limitless was Unlimited Void. And then you could only see like red and blue. Like you knew what they were called. You knew they were called red and blue. And then for the spatial slash equivalent, I assume that'd be purple. So I would then ask you, what's the name of this technique? And presumably you probably go with Unlimited. Or, well, maybe Limitless would come to mind quickly. But then again, like Limitless, it seems like such a strange name, even for Unlimited Void. So I think it's hard to assume that Shrine is actually the real name of it. And even within Shrine itself, there are mysteries. If we go with that as the real name, we still don't properly know how it functions. Why are the slashes invisible? Why can no one perceive them? Even Satoru Gojo with the 6th eye, seemingly enough, cannot see the slashes. And we know very specifically they are flying slashes until you get to spatial slash. Though admittedly there's some debate on that too, in terms of the general unknowns. The thing with the regular flying slashes is that they are just that. They fly. I can't do Android 16. No! Take his coat. No! Don't take his coat. I can't do it. I remix. I'm sorry. I can't steal that voice from you. But we'll do it the bird way. They fly. That's essentially the methodology of Sukuna slashes. But with the way those things slash, they are moving. We see this multiple times. Not only from the fact that we see at the start of I almost did a ship name for them accidentally. This Sukuna and Gojo fight where Sukuna goes, bang! And he just fires off a dismantle at Gojo, and Gojo's confused, and then boop, it like procs off of his infinity, and hits the building behind him. And then you have the other example, the more clear one, the one that, well, obviously they literally call it flying slashes, but the other clear, is it clear though? I mean, it's kind of clear. It's mostly clear. When Mahoraga goes like this and knocks away the slash, because Mahoraga adapted to seeing them. So we know the original slashes fly, but for some reason they're completely imperceptible. Notably, we as the reader can see them sometimes. I'm not sure there's an actual single character in the series who can legitimately see them. I don't know. Other than Mahoraga, who doesn't even have eyes. so like, we don't know the full nature of that. And spatial slash is even wielder? I mean, it's wielded by a wielder. But spatial slash is even weirder when you think about it. Because when you go to spatial slash, and it's two main usages, because we've only seen it twice. I'm not sure if the one we see at the end of the battle with Kashimo was actually spatial slash, or if it's something else at the end of 238. But the two times we see spatial slash, and it's explicitly noted as spatial slash, the first time we don't even see it. We just cut to 236 and Satoru Gojo's, and like the one line image that's supposed to portray what spatial slash was, cutting space, it's like it's tilted this way, but Satoru Gojo is very clearly cut this way, so that's not even an accurate representation of what it looks like. And then we get a proper representation of what it looks like in chapter 238 when Sukuna says, dodge this, and Kashimo moves out of the way. And then spatial slash kind of just appears. And once again, notably, we do see it. We see this spatial dismantle. But the thing about this spatial dismantle is that it's funny looking. Because unlike before, it doesn't seem to travel. Which would make sense, unlike Gojo couldn't perceive it, unlike the previous flying slashes. Then again, it's hard to argue that Gojo could even perceive the flying slashes with the 6 eyes. But this new dismantle, we see a wave, a phenomena, something that does strike. But Unlike before, where we see slashes from Sukuna like tear through the air and then rip something open, this dismantle kind of just poof into existence right then and there where Kashimo was standing, and Kashimo still wasn't able to properly dodge it. He lost half his hand there. And with that being the case, it raises a question of like, does spatial slash travel? Does it not travel? Does it do something in between? I genuinely don't know. Presumably it doesn't travel. That's why he was able to just cleave through the infinity without Gojo even realizing what happened until he was on the ground. But that's strange. We know it's dismantle, but what makes it so special? Is it just the fact that it's spatial dismantle? Why does he need to chant for that one? Does he need to chant for the original? Just because it's a stronger variation of the technique with an expanded target? Or not? I don't know. And speaking of the rest of Sukuna's technique, he kind of just has the black box, something that was introduced in Shibuya and has yet to be elaborated on since. Like, realize the only mentions we get of Fuga, or open black box, are in that fight. Literally never again. Like, we see Sukuna have numerous encounters after the fact, after where he could have reasonably used black box, either be on Yorozu, literally, actually, kind of, now that I think about it, he has no reason to after Maharaga. But Maharaga reveals that Sukuna can and whip out whole flame arrows. You haven't seen him since. Not a clue where those things went. Or what that means. Does that mean that Shrine is something of a container technique? Something akin to what Yuta Okotsu does with Rika, but internally, I guess? We know Kenjaku and Yuta, the only other two characters that wield multiple curse techniques at once in the same singular body, do it in completely different ways. And Sukuna seems to be fundamentally different from both of them anyway. With Kenjaku, when he wields multiple curse techniques, he can just switch between them. Like, curse spirit manipulation is the technique of the body that he's currently in, Suguru Geto, and then he has the anti-gravity engine, or is it the gravity engine? It's anti-gravity engine, because the reversal causes gravity. So we know he has the anti-gravity engine from Kaori Itadori, and he can kind of just switch between that and curse spirit manipulation. He can't use two at the same time. For Yuta Okotsu, he typically doesn't have a technique outside of Rika, which is apparently his regular technique. And then the copy technique is a secondary ability that he has, when he can only access that through storing the information and data inside the Rika husk, which then feeds the data back to him, presumably like a Wi-Fi transceiver. And that's why when Rika fully demanifests and goes back to unmanifested Rika, the Wi-Fi connection gets cut off and Yuta can't use other techniques anymore. But it seems like Sukuna walks this weird line in the middle, where he's not always able to switch between curse techniques easily, but he kind of is. We see a similar usage of Kenjaku, where he imbues his dismantle not only into himself, but then into the domain. And then, once he starts using Ten Shadows, he never uses the Cleaver dismantle again until the end after Maharaga is vaporized. So it seems like Sukuna is in the same boat as Kenjaku, where he can't use two techniques at the same time. But at the same time, it's like he's able to use his own innate technique in a similar vein to the way Kenjaku was able to use the anti-gravity engine from the previous body he was in, and he's able to use the Ten Shadows from the current body he's in. But based on how he was wielding the black box in Uji Todori, he can kind of just do that whenever. But we never see him do it. Or what else he could possibly do with it. It's just a mystery. We have no idea. I don't think we have no idea about. Was he born ugly? Sorry. That's being a bit mean to Sukuna, but like, was he born ugly? Was bro just digi-destined to be ugly, four-armed, and two-faced? Like, notably remember, we know Sukuna was in fact a dude. He was a man. Did he evolve into this four-arm perfect for Jujutsu state, or was he literally born with two faces and two mouths? We don't know. For the longest time, and kind of to this day, I always assumed Sukuna was like a freak accident of Kenjaku's, because Sukuna is perfectly built for sorcery and stuff like that, with the double mouths, the double arms, all the incantations, all the stuff like that. I thought that was something that was kind of locked. But then Kenjaku got his head lopped off, and I'm not sure how much he's going to be doing with Sukuna anymore. But with Sukuna being a four-armed, five-toed, well, probably not five-toed. He probably has 2 toes or 10 toes. Either he has unifoot or he has omnifoot. But with that being the case, we don't know how he got to that state. If it's a state he got to, or if it was a state he always had. And also, we don't really know much about Sukuna's past at all. Like, we just know he was an unwanted child. But what does that mean? Once again, Sukuna is kind of just this big, walking, talking... I was going to make a horrible joke. But he's this gigantic mystery. And the reason I'm okay with that is I feel like Gege may elaborate on some of it. And ultimately, all of these questions really make me want a Sukuna's past arc. Though the question of whether or not that'll happen is most certainly up in the air. However, that's what I think about Sukuna's many mysteries and all the things we do not know about him, despite the things that we do know about him. What do you guys think? Is there anything I missed that's mysterious about Sukuna that you want to add on? Or are there things that you think aren't so mysterious that you can genuinely explain? Please let me know all that and more in the comment section down below. I want to thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you hit that little notification bell so you do not miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do have a Patreon down below, a support for as low as $1 a month. Get things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. And also become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Some of those perks will include a live reaction to the very next chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen. Now, I want to thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That Guy with the Pencil, writing off.
I'd like to give a thank you to our $3 members, Connor Plains, Redwell 4765, and Greyhound. I'd like to give another thank you to our $5 patrons, Victor, Sean, Midnight Gemlord, Kevin, and Demix LND. I'd like to give a juicy old thank you to our $7 member, Autumn's Morning Lazo. I'd like to give a healthy thank you to our $10 patrons, Robbie Uchiha, Joaquin, and Idemokami. I'd like to give a shonka dunka honka thunka thank you to our $25 member, Alex Ice Rose. I'd like to give a scrumdiddlyumptious super size thank you to our $20 patron, Calvin Elder.